Hello students, this is your video that accompanies the for a product assignment. So here's the assignment. You've probably read it by the time you watch this video. It's a good idea to read the whole assignment through before you watch this video because I will be moving through some of the instructions pretty quickly in the video. But there is a lot of content in this very sort of dense 3-page document about what you need to do to come up with your own website here. Now, as I say in the assignment itself, you may wonder why I am asking you to basically create a very simple website within a documentation class within a technical communication minor. The reason is that those who work as technical communicators today often have to interface with online content, and I want you to at least be familiar with that. We aren't going to be doing this kind of work throughout the whole semester. You'll be coming back to this at the end of the semester when you have a little bit more knowledge of best practices for the writing of documentation. But at this point, I just want you to learn a little bit about basic HTML and to basically hand code following a template, an HTML page. So here is a little image in the assignment of the home page of the website that I built. I'm going to make some changes to that website in this video. But the first thing I want to do is walk you through this numerical list that I have starting on page 2 of the assignment. So I want you to create your own personal website through UNM. That is my preference, although if any of you don't want to do that, you don't want to create a public website, I absolutely understand, and so I've provided options for just creating your own website locally on your own computer and then sharing a zipped file with me to submit the assignment. So if you go to this link right here that I have in the assignment, you will come to this page on the UNM website. It is actually linked from this previous page that shows all the different UNM web hosting options. We're following the personal version here, and you click on Setup Now and you get to here. But this is where you will go if you follow the link in the assignment. So this is actually online documentation for how you set up a personal UNM website. And they have some support services here in this box on the right-hand side. Hopefully, by following their instructions, you won't need to reach out to them for help, but if you do, those are the resources. So I've done this myself. I did run into a few glitches, but I was able to get through them. And I think some of the problems I encountered were more idiosyncrasies with one of my computers. So hopefully you won't have any problems, but you need to download and install FileZilla on your computer. And you can do that through Lobo apps. Then you launch FileZilla. So I've downloaded FileZilla. Here's its little app icon. And up here in the top is where you put in the information that they're telling you to put in here. Host, username, password, and port. So your username is your net ID and your password is whatever your password is, and then port. So you connect, and when you are first setting it up, you have to ensure that the permissions on your home directory are set to 755. And all you need to do is follow these instructions. They show the cascading folders here, and they tell you how to go in and get this pop-up window to come up and change the value to 755. I don't want to confuse you, but later on you might need to do something similar to this in selecting some of these owner permissions to read. When it comes time to make sure that your images are viewable, but you might not have to do that, so don't worry about it right now. But the first time you set up your website, you're going to need to do this, most likely. Follow these numerical steps as well as you can, and then there are 8 steps, and you can go, once you follow them all, to your unm.edu/tilde your net ID. And you probably won't see anything if you don't have anything in your index.html file. But this is how you make it so that you can put content live online. So anyway, so this is the FileZilla interface here. And let me close this Dropbox warning. And once you are connected, using the Quick Connect, you will see your NetID folder, your home directory. Mine is Newmark, and your public HTML folder. But you don't have any content. You don't have a website. You don't have any code to use to build a website at this point. So you need to get that also. In order to be able to manipulate the HTML code you're going to get, you need to have a text editor. PCs come with one built in called Notepad, and I mentioned that in the assignment. So you would just find the program called Notepad and you would open it up. I am using one here on my Mac called Brackets, and I just downloaded it. I downloaded another one before this that came with some malware, which was a headache to get rid of. But Brackets seems to be well reviewed and clean, so far so good with using it. And if you have experience doing this, you might have other options than the ones that I'm naming in this video. So here's the Brackets interface here. I already have some HTML code put in here, but you probably won't. Now I'm going to move on to the next step, which is getting the HTML code that you want. So to interject a bit of information, if you go to a website like my very badly designed website, which is about 10 years old and I really need to update it, but if you go to a website, whether it's a rudimentary one like my personal website, or whether it's a sophisticated one like iRobot's website, on either of them, you can click View Page Source and you can see all this HTML code which structures the site so that it displays to the user who's interacting with the site on its public face. The iRobot's code looks like this. It is much denser than mine and may look like gibberish to you if you don't have any knowledge of how HTML is structured. After this class, you'll hopefully have a little bit more knowledge of how to even understand what some of these things are, you know, with a opening and close tag and information like that, and how you insert a link and how you include an image and things like that. But you need to get the code somewhere, right? If you don't know how to hand code it yourself, if you don't know how to create a table and what width it needs to be and how to include an image, that's what all of this is in this line on my website. So what I'm asking you to do is just get some code. I don't want you to use a WYSIWYG, as I mentioned in the assignment, which is a what you see is what you get sort of website builder. And there's many really well-known ones right now, like Weebly and Wix and WordPress. I don't want you to do that. I want you to actually deal with kind of the, well, some don't think it's ugly, some do think it's ugly, but the back end. So to do that, to get some back end code, you're going to go to HTML5up or any other purveyor of HTML templates, site templates. So this one I think is pretty good, and this is what I use to mock up this assignment for you. So there's many different options here, and they all have cute little names. I used editorial, but you can pick whatever one you want. Or as I said, you don't have to use HTML5up. You might find another sort of parallel product and want to use that. Anyway, once you find the one that you like, you click the download button, and it will download. You'll see I'm using a Mac, so I apologize for PC users that this is not also done on a PC to show that process to you. But the download is complete, and you will see that I have it's downloaded here in my downloads folder. It should be my first one. It's a zipped file. So it's going to unzip and it shows up there. Now, this contains everything that you need for your website. In order to have the content in your FileZilla folder, I already have mine in here, but once you have the folder, you need to open it up and select everything there. You don't have to expand any of these things. You just select it all, and you're going to drag it over into your home directory. I'm not going to do that right now because I already did it. But you don't drag the whole folder itself. You don't do that. You open it up and select everything and then drag it over into your home directory. That's how you get everything below it. That's how you get everything that's going to constitute your website. Once you get that, then you'll have an images folder here, which is once you have some images that you want to put on your website, you would drag them right in here like I did with my Busy 2, which was the little logo that I showed on the website. And this is also how you find your public HTML folder, which has your index. And once you have all of this up in this open window, once you've created your new index in your text editor and you've saved it to your desktop, then you can drag it right over on top of that. But you have to get all of the contents out of the HTML5 folder and drag it over to your home directory. This is the index.html. That is the home page, the default home page for a website. But there are organizational components to it, sort of the keys to the lock that allow the structure to be delivered in a visually pleasing way, called the style sheet for the code, that is part of these other packaged elements. CSS, that's the cascading style sheet, that's included in the assets. Images folder, these are some of the images that come in that template for editorial. See, this is their template version, and there are some images included in it. Now you're going to replace those with your own images, and you're going to replace the content that they have in their HTML index file with your own. So if you double click it and you look at it, it'll just open up in its own browser on your computer. And I have 3 different browsers going right now, but this is going to open up in Safari right now. And this is just opening up not off the internet, but off of my hard drive. So this is what it looks like for you before you go in and you make any changes. Now this is not a WYSIWYG because you are not interacting with it through an online utility where you can drag things around, or you can just click here. Let's say you wanted to click here and highlight this and change it. You can't do that. You have to do that using a text editing tool that's going to allow you to work within the HTML coding. So anyway, what you'll do once you've downloaded the whole folder is you will go to whatever text editor you have and you're going to open. You're going to find that folder. There's the folder, HTML5 up, editorial, there you go. And there's the index.html. You want to double click that and open it up. Okay, here it is. Here it is. And if you want to go from, hi, I'm editorial by HTML5 up to, welcome to your busy product, here it is. And I included this little drawing that I did. In the assignment, I mentioned that I should have actually drawn the product rather than including its logo, but as I also mentioned, my own site is a work in progress. So I'm working on this just alongside you guys. But if you compare what the site looks like now that I've modified it, welcome to your busy product, to what they have, hi, I'm editorial by HTML5 up, you can see that I replaced this wording with welcome to your busy product. So how did I do that? Well, I needed to find this wording, hi, I'm editorial by HTML5 up, in my window here. So you can just go find, do a find, and say, so I typed in hi, because that's one of the words that they have in their little model here. And I found it. I found this line, hi, I'm editorial by HTML5 up. And so what I did on mine is I changed it. I went right in here. This is an editor, so you can change it. You can highlight it and say busy product, which was the name that I came up with, by Julianne Newmark, if that is what you want to say. Then you'll see in their model, they have a free and fully responsive site template, and it's got all this Latin here that just fills in the space. So you would go in and you would delete their content and write in your own, whatever it is that you want to say, and delete it. Okay, so anyway, so let's say you're done making some changes and you want to test it out. You save, well, you can save as and save a copy of it to your desktop, for example. And then you would go over to your FileZilla and you would drag it over, drag the index file, boop, right here on top of the index.html here, and it would ask you, it would come up with a prompt and it would say, do you want to replace this file? And you would say yes. Now, once you put it in this FileZilla window, it is FTPing. It is transferring this information to the live internet. So you would be able to then open up your extension tilde username in a web browser and you would be able to see it. But what I wanted to walk you through today, making one change on my site, is I want to make a change to my pull down menu here. Menu, blah, blah, blah. There's so many things here in this menu and I need to change them so that I have a FAQ and I have a quick start guide. Those things are ones that I want. So what I'm going to do here is find the menus, right? So I look back over here at how it's designed. I see it's got menu, homepage, generic elements, all these things. So I need to look for that content in the code. Where am I going to find that? It's going to be under menu. So I have to look for the menus and it's going to be in its own section. Ah, this says sidebar. That looks promising. Sidebar. All right. Ooh, menu. That looks promising. That looks like what I want. What you've started to learn from looking at how HTML is formed, you know that each of these, or I'm sorry, you were learning about XML so far and you also watched a video on HTML, but for something that is opened, it also has to be closed. So you need to look for categories of information where you can pick the whole chunk here. So here is a header, an open header, and it highlights the close header. So that's the whole chunk of things that you need. So what I am going to look for is, I'm going to use this homepage one and the generic one and the elements one because I'm only going to have 3 things in my sidebar menu here. So I need to look for the homepage, the generic, and the elements. Homepage, generic, elements. Those are the only ones that I want. Under that is a submenu, and then there's some with Latin names. So let's see, does that match up with what we see over here? Submenu, yeah, submenu. So we actually want to get rid of everything under that, okay? So submenu, another submenu. And look, it ends here with let's see, I'm going to try to end it here because this is the end of the nav and this is the start of the nav. So I'm going to keep those open, closed, and here's the UL, open, closed. So I'm just going to delete this whole block. Here I go. It's gone. So now what I'm going to do is change these titles, and I'm going to change them to the ones that I indicate in the assignment: user guide, quick start, and FAQ. So I come back over here and I say user guide, but you'll notice that this one actually is associated with index.html, which is the home page. So if I really was making this a user guide, I would change this to be like userguide.html, but I'm not asking you to build any of the linked pages, so you don't have to worry about that. You're just going to do the first level thing here, quick start, and then the last one is going to be FAQ. Okay, so again, if you were going to be creating the linked pages, you would change the names of the files and you'd have to create new files up here, new, to create the pages that went with those so that they linked to the right places. But I'm not asking you to do that in this assignment, so I'm being a little sloppy and I'm just asking you to just change the titles here. So let's save. We're saving my index.html. There we go. And then I'm going to save as, just and save another copy to my desktop, just so I have sort of two versions of it. Now I'll find it on my desktop here, index.html, among all the million other things I have there on my desktop. And now I'm going to drag it over into my my FileZilla here. And it says, do you want to overwrite it? And I'm like, yes, I do. So let's overwrite. And it says successful up here. It was successful. So hopefully when I go up here and I refresh, all right, it worked. So there we go. That's all you need to do for your menus. As I said, I'm not asking you to build any of these, but if I did ask that, it would have to be designed in such a way where you clicked the quick start and it actually took you to a new page that said quick start. And you would do that down in that menu section where we were working, and you would create a link here to quick start. Instead of it just saying generic, you would design one that said quick start, and you would take yourself there. Now this is all just content that was built into the template that I downloaded, the package from HTML5Up. I can go in and just delete all of this, or I can change it. I'll probably go in and change this and say, you know, get in touch with Busy Product, and like change this content and put in my email address if I wanted. You can just go in, you can find this text in your text editor. That's all right down here. You can just match it up, and you can put in something else. Like if you want to be creative and add some more information about your product, you could add it there. I did a little bit of that down here. Basics of the Busy Product. Who uses the Busy Product? Who invented the Busy Product? Why use the Busy Product? And what does the Busy Product do? And I would need to fill in content in these places here. Anyway, this has been a video that's already quite long, but I showed you how to do this if you were going to make it live on the real live internets. If you were doing this just to have it hosted locally on your own computer, you would make a change to your index, and you would save it as index, and then you would want to make sure that in your folder that contains, you'd probably drag it out of your downloads because you wouldn't want to work in there, but you would take this folder, maybe put it on your desktop or somewhere else, and the changed index.html, you would just slide right in and overwrite the pre-existing one, and any images you used you would need to include here in the index, in the images folder, and you would need to include, like I created one image here of my Busy Product. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is, images, Busy 2, that's what it was called. So it's in my images folder, and that's what it's called. This is the image source tag, but you don't really need to know that syntax here because it's already built in. So anyway, so once you put your JPEG image in the folder and you included it properly in your index.html, you would have the completed folder saved with everything you have, and then you'd right click on it and you would say compress the folder, and so it would compress it down, and then you'd be able to email me the whole folder, and then I would be able to open it up, unzip it, and then I would just keep it on my computer, and I'd be able to run everything off of my computer without it being live on the internet. So you have two options there, and I'm really excited for you to work on this assignment. I haven't covered in this video how precisely you do a screencast. That is like we're 62% of the grade on this, but what you'll need to record is basically the whole process that I just went through, edited down to a 5-minute basic snapshot for me of what your process was and what problems you encountered. I'm using QuickTime right now, my QuickTime player. This little button up here is how I start and stop my video. But there's a lot of different tools you can use, including Jing, and on Windows there are tools to use also that aren't built in, but I included a link in the assignment for finding out about those. But so that I don't drag this on further, I'm going to sign off.